Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I have 7 of these, what I am calling flow journals, because they're just full of supplies. You all know that I've been cleaning out, so I have a lot of things that I just split up and separated into 7 different flow journals like this. Each one comes with a vintage Funkin' Wagnalls Encyclopedia, and these are a really, really sweet size. You would have the hardcover if you want to use it for a journal cover. These are from 1961, so the pages are matte, and I just love the images and the information in these old books. So let me show you the types, like the illustrations like that. There's Greek literature. There's a really pretty map. Information about Greece. The illustrations are just, they're just lovely. There's an owl in this one, and oh, what was that? It shows a building collapsing during World War II. I love old images like this. The British monarchy, and then like that. I just think they're really pretty. Another map, and I think as you go through here, you will find a lot of images that you can use in your journals. Like, I really like that. The hairdressing in this one shows different hairstyles. So each one does come with a book. They're all different. That one, of course, is, well, it's Goth, G-O-T-H through H-E-N-R. Now, this flow journal, so to speak, is full of supplies. Nothing is permanently bound. You see a couple of pieces of yarn through here to bind the journal. This is really heavy, pretty green, very botanical looking, those colors. And then on the front, I'm just going to show you this one journal. They're all built the same. Images may vary, of course, because, you know, vintage things are one of a kind. We have the tickets on the front, and then we have a few pages from a reproduction book of fashions from the 30s. So there are a few pages from that book. Even though they're glossy, I have found these to be really fun to use. I'm not sure what you might want to do with this, but I thought I would put a few of these in. When I had my shop sidetracked, I had an old catalog that was falling apart, and I sold a lot of vintage clothing and bags and, you know, slips, all sorts of jewelry, everything you can think of. So I laminated all of these to have them in the shop so that people could look through them if they were trying to get ideas. So we have a few of those. And again, all of these flow journals have those items. You will note as we go through here that you end up with a lot of paper clips. So on this page, this was under here. It's just a few sheets of this bright green paper, and then you have a piece of purple paper. There is a vintage, it's a card from a church where you have the little sort of marquee things to tell enrollment, you know, offerings, things like that. And everyone has one of these postcards. There is just a little tassel here on a rusted safety pin. This was just from leftover ribbon and remnants and things like that. And each one has one of these vintage napkins. You can see the design on the corner, and of course pretty trim. You could cut that down. It feels like a linen. Here we have a stack of book pages. There's an illustrated page on the very front, and this is from a book called The Singing World. So there's a lot of really pretty verse in here. Things that you might want to use in a junk journal, whether you distress these or just fold them, make pockets, whatever. So the rest of these are just text and rhyme and song, but each one has an illustrated page on the front. Each one has a postcard on this page with a paper clip. And then when we turn here, there's another postcard. All of these will be a little bit different. There are a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper here. All of those are going to be different. And then here we have a page of vellum, and then a page on vellum of some sort of diagram. And that's fun to use over the top of other things. Then we have a stack of more of the purple paper, and there are 5 of these blue tickets here. And of course, you're noticing the number of folders that you'll have to work with as well. Here is a little glassine bag, and inside of that, that's a deck of cards that I recently found. So each one has one of those, and each one has 10 little tiny baby playing cards to have fun with. And then up here are a couple of pieces of wallpaper. Here we have some little money envelopes or coin envelopes. And these had been in the box for a while. Some of them, you can see they stick a tiny bit. They're not completely bonded. I think a lot of envelopes do that actually, but there are 5 of these. And then there are 3 pages with beautiful botanical illustrations. All of these flow journals have quite a lot in them. Here is a really fun piece of paper. I love the feel of this. It was almost like a homemade little brochure put out by an organization with the Fontana Village Resort Recreation Department. So it was for group singing, and it's all these really old songs. I want to say that book was from the 60s, and then there's just a heavy piece of paper there. And this, I made some tags recently thinking ahead to Halloween. So that's got sort of a creepy look. Each has one of those on a safety pin. And there is another small, like table doily or whatever. They're all about the same size, but some of them are a little bit different. And they're all really pretty. Here is a page of sticky paper. So this is adhesive, very bright. I had 2 large poster-sized pieces of this. So I cut it down and put one in each one. And then we have some book pages from wildlife, or nature, I should say, in Florida. And just a few pages with plants. Even when pages are a little bit glossy like this, I have enjoyed distressing them and staining them, and it kind of takes it down, it dulls it a little bit. There are 3 napkins here in the center. And then we have a couple of sheets of paper from a book about succulents. And this paper is matte, really pretty. Thought that would be pretty in a junk journal. And then there are 3 sample cards with textile samples. And these are kind of large. They're like 6 by 6 inches. There's the other side of that table scarf. There are a couple of little stamped pages from a little notebook there. And here are some pages from a little note-taking set that came from the Dollar Tree that's got bees in it. I thought that was so cute. Sometimes I like to practice drawing bees. It's a really fun practice, and that has got some good examples that you can follow if you want to add bees to your artwork. Now, this is where everyone gets a little bit different, and it's where a lot of the ephemera comes in. I went through, and some of these things, that looks a little bit risque, but I think it's just an amazing illustration. And some of these might be a little bit creepy, but I had a lot of just all sorts of calendars, pages, and what I did was sort things out into stacks. Like each one of these flow journals, okay, and I weighed those stacks. Let me say that. So each one of these flow journals has a lot of the same things. They're going to be a little bit different simply because this vintage ephemera it's all unique, but it's the same. This last section in the flow journal has the same amount of weight. So it's just all sorts of old things. It's pages, it's text, it's bits of paper, pages from art books, pages from photo albums. There's like a little piece of music. There's an old print of Whistler's Mother. There's music back here. And there are some pages from an encyclopedia here. This one has in-text. And then this, whatever this was, it almost looked like an example from a library or something where you could check things out. And then there's a really big page there. Another page from an art book. Nice heavy piece of paper. Another print. And then we have like a music piece with a really pretty image on the front. More music. There's an old magazine page. That's 1954. And there's the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids. More music. And there's a pretty greeting card. It's kind of interesting. And yet another large old calendar page. That's from the 40s. Here's a little book called The Saturday Review. Got a lot of interesting personal ads and images. So that is in there. There is a little blank card. A page from a book of art by Rembrandt and other artists from that time and location. And then, okay, is that I don't remember. Oh, there are a couple of postcards. Definitely, that's pottery that's been photographed outside to look like plant life. And then here is another section of old book pages. Very pretty. These are all matte. And there is more old music. There's an envelope. And there's a pretty greeting card. Another greeting card. That looks like a page that was printed out of my photographs from the cemetery. That's a really pretty old print. John Singer Sargent. And then another piece of music. That's a fun book page. And another one. Another. And another magazine page. There's a postcard. That was a really old print. This has got, it's in a foreign language, but then it's got Dresden. And some of those are falling apart. Part of a magazine page, postcard, and just another book page. There are a few guest checks here and are really cute. Even though that was from a Christmas card, I think that very center image is absolutely adorable. So let's see. Each one has one of these envelopes there with a couple more pieces of wallpaper. And these envelopes, it's got one of these little tags, one of these tags, a layaway tag, a library card. This is an old receipt from 1900 where it's been stamped, the Commercial Farmers Bank. And then the book I recently bought that's got all the little frames in it. Each one has a page from that book. And then in the back here, this is from a vintage Mother Goose. And this one has really pretty illustrations. So I made sure that each stack of illustrations has got a pretty girl on the very first page. And then we have a few more pages. And just the old Mother Goose illustrations. And I like these because they feel really old. I guess I like an older, sort of medieval, like Grimm's fairy tale look versus the cutesy, I don't know how to put it. This just appeals to me more. And I only have 7 of these. Each one comes with a book. Each one has all the same things, but when you get to that folder that's got the weighed ephemera in it, and I want to say it was like 9 ounces of stuff, 9 to 10 ounces. That's going to have all sorts of things from the workshop, but that pack is very representative of what all of them have. I will put a link so that you can purchase these. I'm going to put these through PayPal directly. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back really soon. Bye for now.